All right, YouTube, you guys already know what it is. This is Andrew Lindley representing the DJ Connect, and we are getting into some of the how to DJ videos. I know we've been talking a lot about like building your business, how to get started, how to start growing as a DJ company, but now definitely there's still a lot of people out there who don't know how to mix. So I'm going to start touching on a lot of this stuff. If anyone has any questions or comments, always drop them in the comments below, and I will always answer your questions either with a video or I'll just answer you in the comments. But today I've got a lot of questions about how to get started with beat matching. What's something that every single beginner DJ needs to learn, and this is the number one skill that everyone skips on because it's the most boring thing. Like when I started to get DJing, I thought you could just like get behind the decks and start mixing tracks and anything worked with anything. And back then there was no YouTube, there was no like online courses or anything like that. We were figuring this stuff out by ourselves on our own. We didn't even have computers. We didn't have waveforms. We didn't have any of this stuff back in the day. So realistically, all we had was our ears, and we could see the timestamps and like what was going on. But that's all we had was our ears. We didn't have all of these waveforms that really help out. Like it's really helpful, but I don't want anyone to ever sit on those like a crutch. Like you need the waveforms because you don't have to have waveforms. You don't have to have all of these fancy things to be able to mix. You have to know this one rule though, and this rule right here is the golden key. Like there in life there are a lot of laws, like the law of gravity. You can't really break it. There's no way to fake gravity. Like you can't just escape it, like unless you leave the planet. You can't break the law of gravity. So when it comes to mixing, BPMs are kind of that law. Like there's a lot of ways that you can manipulate stuff with pitch and all of that and like timing, but you cannot change the law of like BPM matching BPM. Like if you want to mix a track, you have to have the same BPM. They got to be the exact same beats per minute, and they got to like link up on like the first beat of every bar has got to match up with the first beat of every bar of the other track, like the opposing track, and that comes down to phrasing and stuff. And I don't want to get you guys confused, so we're going to just really break it down here. What you have to understand is that pretty well every single track that we're ever going to run into in our entire lives, like as a dance DJ, is going to be made in 4/4 time. Like there is stuff that's made in 3/4 time. Like you got the waltz and stuff. That's always going to be moving on 3 beats. But when it comes to anything that's on the radio or anything that pretty well we're going to deal with as DJs, it's always going to be built in 4/4 time. And what that means is that you have 4 beats in every single bar. And then like you can break it down where I guess this will be something that I touch on and teach you guys more of in the future. And actually, I'll put a link below in the description where you can get my free toolkit of like how to build, or like how beats are made and how tracks are made, how tracks are arranged. I'll throw that all in a folder and then I'll send that to you guys. So definitely check out the description if you guys need more help on that. Like you need the worksheet, I'll definitely give you guys a link to that, free to download. Go grab it right now. And while we're talking about that, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to this video, because all this channel is for is to build better DJs. And if you want a better career, a better DJ hustle, this is the place to be. So as I was saying, all tracks are going to have 4/4 time. And magically, like when you see the loops and stuff on almost all our controllers, it's going to always tell you that it's like a 4-beat loop. Like they don't even program these things into other beat loops because it doesn't work like that. It's never something that we're ever going to run into. So I'm only going to be talking about 4/4 time. Flame me in the comments if you need, like feel free. But as a working DJ, you will know that like this is the only thing you're ever going to run into, is 4 beats in every bar. Once we start talking about bar structure, that'll be another video because that's like a whole different aspect. Like this another can of worms. You don't want to worry about that. All we're worried about right now is 4 and counting to the number 4. Once you get into like the next bars and stuff, you're gonna need to count to like an 8. You're gonna need an 8 count, and that's just gonna help you like remember what bar you're in and what's going on there. But what we're dealing with right now, the only skill that you need from here on out is to know how to count to 4. If you know how to count to 4, you are already going to be a professional DJ. Like, I promise you right now, you're going to figure this out. You're going to get it going on because that's all it comes down to. So I'm hoping that this track here isn't going to get me banned from YouTube. It might not. It is what it is. We're going to play it. Hopefully, it's slow enough that we're not going to get an issue here. But if we do, we do. So what we have to understand here is that we have a 4/4 time signature, right? That means 4 beats in 1 bar. And what does that mean? It means that we have to count this out. Like, if you're struggling with beat matching and you still can't figure it out and you're trying to play tracks and they're not mixing and they're not lining up, there's probably a very simple solution. Like, this is something that I didn't understand when I was learning how to DJ. As I said, there was no YouTube, there was none of that stuff. I thought I could just get on here and start mixing and just like, everything's going to be good, everything's going to be easy, and it's not easy, especially if you don't get it right now. Trust me, I feel you. Like, you have to understand this. This is the golden key, the golden law. Like, this is the law. This is music theory. This is something that I'm sure a lot of us skipped in high school, and like, we didn't care about music, we didn't care about any of that stuff. But as we grew into DJs, we still need to understand those laws and we still need to understand those rules. So I'm gonna play the track here. I'm going to start counting it out for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you need to know. Like, this is it. This is the golden key that's going to teach you how to learn a beat match. And this is like probably the most boring video that you're ever going to watch, but it is so important because this is everything. Once you understand how to count the beats, then you can start counting the bars, and then you can start doing, like, you can keep moving on. You can go to the phrasing of the track. But if you cannot count the beats, you're never going to be able to mix because you're not understanding that this beat has to match with this beat, which has to match with this beat, which has to match with this beat. And those beats have to be the exact same speed. Like, you cannot mix a 100 BPM track with an 80 BPM track. You can if you make them meet in the middle at like 90. It's going to sound a little weird. It's going to be pitched a little weird, but then you're going to be able to mix it because they're now at the same BPM. BPM equals BPM, 100%, no questions asked. Like, this is the most important thing that every beginner DJ needs to learn. So let's get into it. Let's start counting, and I'll kind of show you guys. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to tell you here. So let's go. Three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you notice there, like, the track kind of changed up at the end of that, and before it came right back to that one, like, that's what we're talking about with phrasing. Like, that's the end of a bar section. So, like, maybe that was the chorus, maybe that was the intro. And as soon as it comes back, it's still coming back on the one, and it's a new phrase, like a different area of that track, a different arrangement of the track. That's going to be like your cue to bring in that next track, or that's always going to be your cue. Like, something else is changing in the track. This is something that you got to notice. But let's keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So why is that important? Like, why is any of that important? Because that is everything. Like, once you understand how to count out a bar, you're going to be able to start counting out multiple bars. And once you start counting out multiple bars, now you can take like another track's multiple bars and stick it on top of the other one. So what I always like to tell people is like, if you're trying to learn how to beat match right now, you have to start with instrumentals. Like what I got going on here, make it easy on yourself, because once you have another track trying to come in with like vocals are coming in, and then you got the vocals clashing with the other vocals, and it's not even beat match correctly anyways, you're gonna lose yourself so quickly and so easily. Like it's gonna be, you're just making it tough on yourself. But when you're using very minimal like sounds, like this instrumental right here is kind of like loud, there's a lot going on, but you can very clearly tell like what is what. So I'm gonna put on that 4 beat loop as I was saying. Hopefully you guys can see it up top. I'll hit this one as well just so you can kind of see it, but whether or not, like, I'm only going to work with the one. So you can very clearly here see, like, this is number 1, beat number 1. 1, that's number 2. 2, and then 3, and 4. Let's take that off. Hopefully that's a little bit easier to see, but you can see these little lines at the top. Serato will even like show you. It's even teaching you what is what, and like I don't know if you can see it, but this will tell you like what number you're in, what bar number you're going into, and that's only if the beat grid is done correctly. Like when I first got this track, the beat grid was not correct, so this is going to be another video that I'm going to teach you guys like how to fix your beat grids. I don't like using beat grids. Like, I feel like it's kind of silly, but that's what you need. Like, if you're using the sync button, I'm not going to sit here and bash the sync button. The sync button has a time and a place. I use the sync button for a lot of the tricks that I do, but it's not going to work if your beat grids aren't aligned correctly. So this is just like all of these things work together, but the number one golden key here, like the most important thing that I'm trying to get here, is you have to understand what each beat is, and you got to be able to figure out what beat is what. And like whenever you're mixing, you got to know like what beat you're on in what bar of what phrase. This is the most important thing that you're ever going to have to learn. So like get your notepad out and start writing. And it, like, Serato helps you. It's going to show you what's going on, what is what means anything. Let me move those cue points so it'll show you a little clearer. But here's one. Like, this is obviously 1. This is your downbeat. This is where the track starts. That's it. There's a little bit ahead of it. Like, this is where Serato first put the beat grid, and that's what messed it up. Even though there's a sound there, that's not the first beat. Even though something is there, like this is a golden key. There's a lot of tracks out there on the radio that start on a beat that is not the downbeat. Like it might start on like the 3. Maybe it starts on the 3 and where it's just like a boom. Like a good track for that is like Sexy Back, Justin Timberlake. Go listen to that, the original, like the radio version of it. Listen to Sexy Back, and it's like dun dun dun. I forget how the beat goes, but it starts ba 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 ba. That's how it starts. And like if you thought that first sound was the downbeat, you're destroyed. Like you're never going to be able to mix that track because you're not understanding that first beat, that first sound is not beat number 1. Like beat number 1 is right here. And then beat number 2 is this kick right here. And then right here, beat number 3. Beat number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a lot of times, like this is always going to repeat itself. Like in music, this is going to repeat itself a lot. Like you're going to have that kick. You're going to have that snare drum. It was a snare, sorry. You're going to have your kick. You're going to have your snare drum. And that's kind of how like hip hop goes. It goes kick, snare, boom, tch, boom, tch. But sometimes it's like boom, tss, tss, boom, tss, tss. So it doesn't matter what the arrangement is, but you have to understand, like you got to really understand what beat you're on, where you are in the track, and from there, trust me, everything's going to change. So the next video that I'm going to put out in this little series of how to beat match is literally taking 2 tracks, 2 instrumentals, and mixing them together. So make sure you guys tune in. That's going to drop next week, next Tuesday. I will see you guys there. So make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to this video. Hit that bell notification if you want to see like the progression of how this all works. Version 2 is coming out next week, so make sure you're here Tuesday. It goes down. I'm going to show you how to take 2 tracks and actually beat match them together. But I'm telling you, if you're struggling right now and you don't understand how to beat match, spend this whole next week learning how to count beats. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to pull like another track up just in case like something goes wrong. But I'm going to pitch this way up like plus 35 here. Plus 35, and we'll count it out. It should be 95 BPM. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but let's check it out. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it doesn't matter. Like, nothing matters. It doesn't matter what pitch you're at, what speed you're at. That's always going to be the same, but you have to understand how to count it. Like, if you cannot figure out how to count it, you are going to lose this battle, and you're just going to get frustrated, and it's going to go on forever. So like and subscribe to this video. The DJconnect.com if you want to join the private members group. Full course, tons and tons of goodies. Join the dopest DJ family on the internet. Let's go, fam.